get asked a lot what kind of software I use to make these videos, and the answer is Open Broadcaster Software Studio. It's a free and open source software that's available at obsstudio.com, and it's about the best. I'm going to say it's going to allow you to make professional quality videos, just kind of with little tweaking, almost right out of the box. One thing that we have to do when we're working with OBS is set up scenes and sources. So today I'm going to look at scenes, sources, what they are within OBS, and how to set up your scenes with different media sources, like this sweet little graphic. That's just a little image, just a little PNG file that I've overlaid as a source in the scene that I'm using to shoot this video. Let's take a look, friends. I'm Michael from oneskyastrology, and we're going to jump into something a little bit different. Today we're going to jump into OBS. So usually when I'm sharing my screen, it's got some astrology, it's got some, star charts, planetary diagrams on it. Excuse me, I'm just going to pull my feet up in cross-legged position, because that's how I like to sit. Today, friends, we're looking at the back end of OBS. Let me pull this out, make it a little bigger. So there's a lot going on here, and there's going to be a lot to do in OBS before you're really shooting the kinds of videos and getting the kind of content that you might want to get in the beginning. But keep at it is my first piece of advice. Keep at it. Understanding scenes is pretty easy. A scene is a collection of sources. Okay, so scenes, when we see scenes over here on the lower left, there's 3 scenes that I have created, are the scenes that I use to make all my videos. I'm going to walk through these scenes and the sources that comprise them. So in doing so, you'll be able to see how I set my scenes up, and you'll be able to take this information and generate your own scenes with it. So sources, a source is any media source. So the first thing I want to do in this video is look over the different sources. I'm going to go over my scenes in a while. First, I want to be familiar with all the sources that we can add to a scene. In order to do that, I'm going to take this third scene, which is really just my screen capture and a mic so that you can hear what I'm saying, and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to duplicate this screen, and I'm going to call it fake scene for video tutorial. Now I have 4 scenes, and with this 4th one, we're going to start to play around. We're going to start to add stuff. All right. So as mentioned, we have a screen capture, and that's what's obviously that's what's creating this strange loop, this infinite regression here. And we have a mic, which is how you are hearing the audio that I'm producing. When we want to add a source, we're going to use the plus sign here in the lower left. And when we open up this dialog, it gives us options. Now, my options are going to be different than your options because I'm using this on Linux. So if you're looking at this in Windows or an OS X or iOS machine, you may see different options because those machines handle they handle these addresses and devices differently. But what I have is some audio inputs, and basically when I want to generate a mic, I'm going to want to use the audio input capture. That's going to capture audio from an input like my microphone. I can include a browser. So if I have a browser open, I can just populate sort of, let's check that out. Let's just add one. So I'm going to create a new. Whenever I create a source, it allows me to create a new or add an existing. We don't have an existing browser, so we'll create a browser. Bam. Tells me I've just added a browser source. Browser sources let you display a web page. All right. So now I can set the URL. Go to obsproject.com, and here we are. And that allows us to pull up OBS homepage. We have web content, and this is actually what you would see if you went to the OBS homepage. That address, obsstudio.com. I believe you can scroll down and interact with the page to a lot more depth, but that's what it is to add a source. This is a media source, okay? So let's get rid of it. I don't really have any particular use for it except as an example. So we use the minus here next to the plus, and we'll just remove. Are you sure? Yes. All right. So we're getting the idea. We can populate our screen, our video capture, with color source. And a color source is exactly what I use to make this little detail around my embedded head, this talking head in the upper right hand of the screen. When we look at the sources for this scene, we can see that I have a color source that is basically this. I can add an image, and adding an image is how I get this guy into these full screen scenes, the oneskyastrology.com. That's an image I generated in a Photoshop-like program and added to the scenes. That top scene. I can't actually show you the sources for this top scene because when I click on it, this is what happens. But I took a screen capture of the sources for that original, that full screen scene, and we will, examine it just before this video ends. We'll check it out. I can add another scene. That's how you see my my big head when it's up in the corner. Just added the whole first scene. I can do a screen capture. That's what you're looking at now, the background. I can make text. So yeah, I don't use a lot of text, but let's see. All right. I can read from a file. That's interesting. All right, so if I want to generate text, I can. Well, that's pretty boring, but I can see how it would have its utility. Alright friends, we're almost there. We can get video capture. That's going to take my webcam embedded, or otherwise it's going to take a capture device, a USB camera, or anything else that you have. The video capture device is how in this first scene we are capturing my big head with my little webcam. Then we have a window capture, and this is just if I have an open window, but I don't want to say I don't want to capture all this window bar data with the buttons in the top right or top left corner, and all this textual data. Then I can add a window capture. Yeah, right now, what I want to do is look over the differences in my scenes. This third scene is made up of a screen capture and microphone data, and this is just so you can see anything that's happening on my screen without my head up in the corner here. And mostly what that's for is for doing like demonstrating something where the video image of my head would like be in the way, or if I just don't want to be part of that shot, I have this option. Here I have a scene that is a screen share with a scene, the first scene, embedded in the top corner. Then we have a color source, which is mentioned, is that little border. We have the screen capture, which is how you're seeing my background. And we have the mic, so that you can hear what I'm going to say. So we have audio and video. That's really the main two things you have to worry about. You're going to want some kind of a visual component, and you're going to want to have, unless you're making silent films, making talkies, you're going to want to have some kind of audio component. And where you go from there, like you can have tickers on the bottom of your screen, you can have scrolling, textual data. You can really go hog and make all kind of professional looking displays. I'm sort of a minimalist, so I keep it like this. But enough about me, folks. Let's take a look at let's take a look at this, because this is the screen capture here of that top scene. Oh, I know what I'll do. All right. So when we're looking at this top scene, we've got the image that is this OneSkyAstro, and I know that I'm filming in 1920 by 1080 resolution. So I made this image in that resolution to be lined up just where I want it on my video source and my video scene. And I added that source, that media source. Just give a little accent, clue people into my website. The rest is just ultimately basic. I have mic input, that's this little guy, and my webcam. Whoa! It's that easy, my friends. It's that easy to set up scenes and to start moving in between them and shooting. So obviously right now I'm showing you OBS, but if I wanted to show you astrology software, it's just as easy as having this scene open and then bam. I mean, I can just open any program and record with OBS, make a video. if I want to open my paint program here and open I can open an image. We'll open this. I want to develop a couple of the ideas by showing you some interesting tricks within this whole thing. I want to show you that within sources, okay, you can copy and paste. So let's say we have some properties or some filters that we've added to the mic. Have we added filters? Yeah, we have noise suppression. Okay, that's great. Say I want that same mic. So I'm going to take this screen share and I'm just going to duplicate it again. Fake scene. I got rid of that other one a little too early. And here in the fake scene, I can take, well, we duplicated the whole scene, so taking the mic would be silly, but say we take the screen share, and we'll take this scene, and when we want to see what the scene is, we can click on this lock to unlock it. That'll give us control toggles on the corners. We can resize it and move it. But we have that scene, and I want to just copy this. I can use Control-C, or going into fake scene, I can use these menus, right-click menus, to paste. Now, in the fake scene is the pasted scene, this first scene, me with the capture, with my oneskyastrographic, the mic. Very simple 3-source scene. Now it's part of this fake scene. Okay. But you'll notice, even though I've copied it and it's in the exact same place when I'm switching scenes, watch in the lower left, I'll switch from scene to scene. This scene doesn't have what the top scene does, this color source. That color source is, again, the border around the inlaid source in the top right. You can see when I switch, yeah, everything's the same, relatively, except that. What we're doing with this mic in fake scene is if we want to open up, say we have different microphones, we can choose which microphone we're using for this. And with filters, we do have some interesting options. I just use the noise suppressor, but we do have compression, expansion, gain, inverted polarity limiter, noise gate, noise suppression, and the VST 2.x plugin. VST, I don't even know what that last one is, but basic range of audio filters. Once you set up a mic in your original scene, you can copy that mic. If you set it up with a lot of filters, or you set it up in a particular way, and you want the audio to be consistent as you change scenes, you don't want it to subtly change a little as you go from scene to scene to scene to scene. You want the audio to stay relatively the same. Well, what you can do is just take that mic, and when you make a new scene, either make the new scene by copying an old scene with the basics, the video, the mic, whatever your template is. Mine's obviously a screen capture, the background capture, and audio. Everything else is sort of built on that. But the point I'm trying to get across is that you want to copy sources and you want to copy scenes, and that keeps things exact. Let's just say I'm going to take the color source, and copy it and put it in fake scene. I'll just give you an example of something we can do. And we'll paste, duplicate, and now that color source is in the scene. But if I go back and I try to get this scene, with my talking head, and I want to put that into fake scene. I want to get that up here. If I just go to fake scene and I add, I'm going to add a scene. Okay, I can add an existing scene. Okay, I know what I want to do, so I want to add that first scene. Bam. Now I have to resize this whole thing, and I have to do it just right. So yeah, I could go into the other scene. Oh my gosh, I got it exact on the first try. Well, usually what ends up happening is something like this, where if you watch as I transition from scene to scene, you'll see a subtle little difference there. Keep your eye on the sparrow up there in the corner. Shoop. See it. Shoop. And it's very frustrating to reconcile these little pixel or 2 or 3 pixel discrepancies. So what we want to do is copy, and that'll place it in an exact placement, which when you're switching from scene to scene is very advantageous, because it creates a seamless visual effect where everything's in the exact same place. Alright friends, that's about all I wanted to say about scenes and sources. There's a lot of stuff in OBS. It's going to take a little time to unlock the potential of the program, but I want to encourage everybody not to be intimidated. This learning curve is definitely scalable. And yeah, join us in the Sidereal Revolution on Facebook. That's where students of constellational or true sidereal astrology are hanging out. I want to say, please do check out my website. Like, subscribe, do the famous YouTube stuff. It's awesome. And keep it weird, friends. I'll see you soon for another, maybe another video. Who knows what subjects I'll be making videos on. Astrology, software, who knows what's next. I'm just kidding. It's probably just going to be astrology or software. Ciao for now, fam. Love you all.